My name's Zanetor Agyeman-Rawlings. I'm actually a medical doctor by profession, with a keen interest in holistic well-being. So I like to approach the health aspect from the environment, the care of the environment, and as well as the psycho-spiritual well-being, and then the standard health. So your nutrition is important, exercise, and management of your environment, as in stress management, and the care for the environment that you live in. And this is something that I'm passionate about, because I don't think that you can actually pick one and leave the other. I think they all kind of work together in a web that makes our existence more fulfilling, as opposed to just merely surviving. We end up thriving. So that would be my main interest. At the moment, my main preoccupation would be dealing with raising funds for people who've had problems being displaced, or those who've lost family members as a result of the recent floods that we had in Ghana and explosions that led to the death of over 200 people. And it's basically been raising funds to support these people and set up an education fund. The other thing as well that I do is facilitating the networking of young people who are looking to set up businesses, or who already set up and would like to expand on their businesses. And it's just to give them the links to the right people who have similar ideals and ideas, so that they can actually grow together. Because one of the things I find is the difficulty at times is finding people who are in sync with you when you're trying to create a business, and finding those kinds of people who are in alignment with your philosophy is usually the best way to succeed at what you do, without moving out of your alignment in terms of what it is that you perceive as the way to go with your business. I think one of the things that already exists, I have a strong belief in the fact that all people, or all peoples globally, have culture, okay? And you have common threads when it comes to the global family. But as a generalization, if you actually go down to the community level, every community traditionally has the specific role of the women. In Ghana, for example, and as far as I know, many countries in Africa as well, the women have their traditional role as women leaders. So you have the queen mothers, for example, who are instrumental in various things. And one of the big things that the queen mother has a responsibility to do, for example, in the Ashanti kingdom, is she has a very instrumental role in choosing who the king is going to be. You know, and she's very important in the settling of disputes as well. Her counsel is so important in decisions regarding the community. And these are things, and the women look up to her. She's a role model who's already established, and they look up to her. You know, so I think in order to actually establish a system of leadership for women on the continent, we need to look back at the roots of where we are, because it's easier to build upon what people are familiar with, what's intrinsic to people, rather than trying to impose something that does not connect with who they are. And so I think that's a good starting point in terms of where to look at the establishment of leadership potential in women. The other thing as well, I would say, is that we need more women in the political arena and in the formal sector of whether it's business or anything that, you know, has anything to do with income generation or leadership. Because women have a valuable role, but always tend to take a step behind. And therefore, the input, you know, we're finding ourselves in a situation where the masculine has kind of gone out of balance, and the role of the woman is not being seen in the level that it should be, which is a shame, because if we had that balance, we would be better able to, I think, manage a lot of the issues that are happening within the community, because women bring a certain insight into situations. You know, and even in conflict resolutions, women have a different approach, which would actually I think would promote more peaceful solutions globally. So for me, I think there's no question about the fact that we need to have more women in politics to start with, and whether it's at the level of the assembly levels as we have them here, or the district levels, or whether it's in parliament, and as well as more women who are being groomed for those positions, because we have these stereotypes where automatically you'd have most young men aspiring for certain positions and women looking more towards, smaller businesses or having families and all of that. I think we need to change it in such a way that the position of a leadership does not feel like a masculine role, and that it's actually okay to bring the feminine into a position of leadership. And that's why I keep going back to the fact that we need to look back to the traditional forms of leadership that women have had and build upon those and go forward there. I would say, without a doubt, the most important at this point in our history as humanity is social entrepreneurship. That sense of creating that change that generates money as a result. Over the years, people have shied away from making the environment better, or how do we do things better because it doesn't pay. But how do we put value to making the environment better? How do we put value to making life better? So that if you're talking about, whether it's some kind of a recycling campaign, for example, how does recycling become something that generates money? Okay, and I can give a very good example. I'm affiliated with an institute in Ghana called the Kokrobite Institute, which basically capitalizes on this. Okay, so they have one of the things that the institute does is comes up with ingenious ways of using recycled material and turning it into something beautiful. Because when you think about recycled material, most of the time you're thinking about things that you would really rather not use. Because it's great, it's recycled, and you're thinking, yeah, that's great for the environment, but it doesn't look very nice. It's not aesthetically pleasing. Okay, what this institute does is they make use of recycled denim, recycled inner tubing of tires, and they use them to make school bags. So we have a project that's called the Ghana School Bag Project, where they make thousands of bags, and these bags are they don't just make the bags. Okay, so the bags are made with the inner lining, which makes them waterproof, but then each bag is provided with specific things. You have a bottle of soapy water and a bottle of clean water. You have a bowl, you have a sponge, you have a little towel, you have two boards, one which is for your food and one which is for writing. You have a little pen. So it's basically just making use of what's there and turning it into something beautiful, something that's useful, or you have PVC pipes, for example, the piping, which basically, gets discarded. They make furniture with this. So you have the inner tube of a tire, or rather the outer tube of a tire, which is upholstered nicely. Then you have the huge piping below. Then you have a stand that's wood, and you end up with a beautiful stool. Or we have a situation where we have the bottles being recycled and made into lampshades, or being recycled for people who want to use them for products, and there's actually a lady who is into a lot of natural organic skin products made here, and she uses the material that they make. So you're looking at a situation where recycling has become a source of revenue generation, and it's useful. It's useful, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. We need more of such things where people are turning things that you would not normally generate much and making something out of it. It makes it more appealing to save the environment, because the fact is people want to make money. So if you can expand on how to do things in an environmentally friendly way and make money, I think that's the winning combination. And I think on the continent, given where the planet has reached and the concerns that we have regarding the, whether it's the ozone layer being depleted, or the greenhouse gases, or the poisoning of groundwater, or, radioactivity, whatever the case may be, we've reached a point in the in the life of this planet as we are now, where we need to start looking at ways to protect the environment and enhance our well-being without destroying what's there, and having something that's going to be there for posterity. And I think that the way forward is a form of entrepreneurship where we support one another in a cooperative as opposed to a competitive way and build each other up.